Hi guys, welcome to today's video. So this video is going to be a book unhaul. I have a lot of books I'm going to unhaul. I actually haven't counted them. Let's count. I have 23 books to unhaul, which is actually quite a lot for me because I'm very reluctant when it comes to unhauling books. I like to have a big collection of books, but some of these books are like duplicates, so I don't need another copy. Some of them I didn't like. I have quite a few reasons for the books I'm getting rid of. Also, when it comes to the books I keep, I'm very reluctant to get rid of any books, even ones I don't like. But there are some books that I really don't like that I just don't want to have. So yeah, we're gonna go through them. Let's get into it. I've never done a book unhaul before. I'll start with this one. I already have a copy of Powerless. I bought it just before my birthday, my copy that I already read, and then I got this from my parents because they didn't know I already got it. So I'm getting rid of it. I don't need two copies. It's never been read. And this one I also already have a copy of Promises We Meant to Keep. I think my mum got me a copy even though I already had one and she didn't know I already had one. So I'm getting rid of it. This book I'm getting rid of because of the author. I don't like this author. I really liked the book when I read it, but then I found out stuff about the author that was really unsettling to me. You can look it up if you like. I don't want to explain it because I don't want to get anything wrong, but just things he said just leaves a sour taste in my mouth, and I don't want to be supporting this author. The House in Carroli Sea, I'm actually really sad because I actually really enjoyed this book, but yeah, I don't like this author, so I don't want this book. Tomorrow I'm getting rid of. I actually haven't read this book, but I've had it for a really long time and I just don't think I'm ever gonna pick it up. I don't think it's for me. Every time I see it, I'm just like, I don't want to read it. So I'm gonna get rid of it. I feel like there's no point having books that I just don't want to read. These books I'm getting rid of because I don't like Sally Rooney. Actually, this is an interesting story, but I read Beautiful World, Where Are You? And I rated it 5 stars. But this was one of the very first books I read when I got back into reading. And I was in a really, really bad place when I read it. And the romance was the only part I liked in this book. But looking back, I'm like, the romance wasn't even that good. I just liked it because I had never read romance before and I was in a bad place. So the romance was an escapism sort of thing for me at the time. But looking back, I don't really like it. Now I would rate it 3 stars. Also in this book, every second chapter, I think there's this email conversation between Alice and Eileen, and they talk about politics and stuff, I think, and I skimmed through most of them. I didn't read a lot of them, but I still rated this book at 5 stars. I was I didn't even read half the book, but I rated it at 5 stars. That makes no sense. I had no concept of rating books at that time. This was the first book I rated. I'm not really a fan of it anymore. I'm also not a big fan of it now because I read Normal People and really didn't like it. I was kind of into the start of it, but then I just got really, really sick of the book. I think Sally Rooney just isn't for me. I just found this to be really boring. I just didn't like the characters. This was also kind of marketed, not really marketed, but a lot of people spoke about this book like it was a romance, but it's not really a romance. It's a toxic sort of thing, which I wasn't a fan of, and I thought the ending would be very different than how it was. So overall, I was just so annoyed with this book. I was like, why did I waste all that time reading it? Toxic relationships and books like that, I feel like they're entertaining to some people, but I'm not a fan of it. I just don't care to read those type of books. So I really didn't like it. And therefore, I also disliked Beautiful World, Where Are You? Even more after reading Normal People. So I'm getting rid of these. The Spanish Love Deception. I have 2 of these books. I won this book in a giveaway. It was a mystery giveaway, so I didn't know I was going to get this book, but I already own a copy of it, so I'm getting rid of it because I don't need to. I actually haven't read my copy yet, but anyways. Fowl of Thieves. So I read Dance of Thieves recently. I DNF'd it. I just really didn't like it, and I thought it was going to be a 5-star book, and I just really, really wasn't enjoying it, so I DNF'd it, and so I have no reason to have this book. I usually don't really buy series, but this series is a duology, and I was like, oh my god, I'm definitely gonna love Dance of Thieves, so I need to get the second book, but I didn't love it, so I don't need to have this book. I am keeping Dance of Thieves because it was gifted to me, so I do want to keep it, but I have no reason to have Vow of Thieves. Okay, this is a bit of a random one, but I got Midnight at the Christmas bookshop in December. I was gonna read this around Christmas time. I was just trying to get whatever Christmas books I could for a Christmas reading vlog, and this book just doesn't sound interesting to me. I was like, literally, like I said, I was trying to get any Christmas books I could. I don't think I'm ever gonna read this. I just have no desire to read it. It's giving very, I don't know, like Hallmark movie vibes. It just doesn't sound interesting to me whatsoever, so I just don't want to keep it. And I don't really like the cover. I just don't see myself ever reading it. Ew, why is this all sticky? Some of these are so random. I have Stranger Things Suspicious Minds. I got this from my sister. I thought I was gonna read it when I got back into reading. I'm like, oh my god, you have a Stranger Things book? I want to read that. I'm not gonna read this. I'm just not. When I've seen a show or a movie, I'm very, very, very unlikely to read the book after. Like, I already know how it pans out, so I have no desire to read the book. I never really reread books. I never really rewatch movies unless they're like my favorite movies, like all-time favorite, and even then I will only rewatch them like once a year, once every 2 years. Like, I'm not a big rewatcher type of person, and even when I read books, I'm very unlikely to then go watch the movie or the show, because sometimes that ruins it for me and I already know the story. So yeah, I have no reason to have this book. I really don't. I really like Stranger Things, but I'm just never gonna read this. Okay, we have two classics. You know what I mean. Mockingjay and Catching Fire from the Hunger Games. I had the first book and that was the only one I read, but I don't know where it went. I wish I still had it. I have no clue where it went, but I never read these books. I loved the movies as a kid, and I just know I'm never gonna read these. I was keeping it because it's kind of like a childhood book, but I kind of have no reason to have them since I didn't even read them, and I'm never going to, so I might as well get rid of them. This book looks like it's been well loved, but it's just been carried around for so long that it's just like destroyed. I know I'm never gonna read these. Like, I always want to read and consume new content, so I'm very unlikely to go back to these books. That's the same for these 4 books. This is a part of the Maze Runner series. I have the first book and I don't think I read it, but I loved the movies as a kid and I rewatched them I think a few years ago, and I like still love them. But I had this whole series as a kid. I always planned to read them, but I never did, and I just don't think I'm going to. I don't even know what order these go in. I have the Scorched Trials, the Death Cure, the Fever Code, and the Kill Order. But yeah, I'm just never gonna read these. I've watched the movies. I have no desire to read the books. Like I said, I always just want new content to consume, and I'm not really into the dystopian sort of stuff anymore. Well, I can't say that because I haven't read a dystopian book since, but I don't know. It's just not what I really reach for. I'm more so reaching for like fantasy worlds and romance and dystopian. Okay, this is also very similar. I have the Ikabog by J.K. Rowling. My brother gave this to me quite a few years ago. I don't even know what it is. I think it's like a short story. When am I gonna read this? Never. I have no desire to read this book. J.K. Rowling is also, she's not sure the right word to use for her, but I have no desire to have this book. I loved Harry Potter. I read all the books, but what is this? I don't know, and I'm not gonna read it. So yeah, this one's a little embarrassing. I have this Five Nights at Freddy's box collection. The Silver Eyes, the Twisted Ones, and the Fourth Closet. I got these during the FNAF craze when the movie came out, and I was like, oh, I want to get the books. I thought these were graphic novels when I got them. They are not. They are like actual books of words, and I'm just never gonna read these. It's very impulsive of me to get these, but I'm just never gonna read them. So I don't need them. I'm gonna get rid of them. I wanted to learn more about the story because I never played the games. Like, I knew about them and I heard stuff about them, but I'm very like scared of stuff. I'm very scared easily. So I never wanted to play the games, and I only rarely watch people play it. But like, I've heard a lot of lore about it, but I wanted to know like in detail more about it. But now I'm like, whatever. I don't really care. So yeah, I'm gonna get rid of them. And then Harry Potter. I have this first edition. No clue where it came from. But I actually have a different copy of the first edition of Harry Potter that goes with all my other books, so I don't need this one. I don't need 2 Harry Potter books. So yeah, I'm getting rid of this. This kind of gives nostalgic vibes, but I don't need it, so I might as well get rid of it. I think that's every book. That went surprisingly very fast. Oh no, I have one more book. A Million Kisses in Your Lifetime by Monica Murphy. I already have this book and I got another copy from my mum. She didn't know I already had it, so I don't need 2 copies. Oh my god, this is so lame. I thought I'd have better reasons for all of these books, like I didn't like it and I want to get rid of it, but most of these books I have doubles of, or I'm just not gonna read them. But yeah, I already have this book, so I'm gonna get rid of it. I think I'm gonna sell some of these books, the ones that are in like perfect condition, even though that gives me anxiety. Like Facebook Marketplace terrifies me, but I'm gonna sell some of them and then I'm gonna donate some of them, probably donate them to the library, which I didn't realize I could do until recently, and also donate them to the thrift store. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I thought it'd take me a lot longer to film, if I'm being honest, but anyways, thank you for watching. I have a book Instagram and a book TikTok. You can also subscribe, like this video, comment down below, comment anything. I love talking to you guys, and yeah, thank you for watching. Bye.